What you just saw was a video showing these 6 different models, and this is just a visual representation of what each one looks like. We have our low planning time of 1 teach or 1 observe, or 1 teach and 1 assist. We have our medium planning time where 2 teachers are teaching at various stations, or parallel teaching, once again sort of like station teaching. And then we also have our team teaching where they're teaching together to deliver a lesson. Okay, and what we would like to see is a variety of these models used, not defaulting to one, and this is most often the easiest one to default to. We'd rather not see that all the time. It's okay to use sometimes, but what we want to see is a variety of the models in use in your classrooms, because the goal is student success. Okay, so next I want to talk to you about some challenges that you may be feeling that you're going to face, or that you will face when you get into the co-teaching situation. But I'm not going to give you these challenges without giving you a strategy to meet it. So the first challenge is control. We all know teachers are control freaks at times, and we like to be in control of our classroom. So you might be feeling that it's hard to invade another teacher's space. After all, it is his or her classroom. Or I don't like colleagues to feel like I'm evaluating them or judging them. Okay? So here's the solution. Be informed. Start by discussing your classroom routines and rules and preferences. What you'd like to be done and what things you would like people to do during this time. Be intentional. Discuss your hopes and concerns with each other before you even get started. Okay? It's no longer my classroom, my students, but it's our classroom and our students. And we're not there to judge or tear down each other. We are there to support each other, and in doing that, we're supporting our students, because that is our main goal, is supporting them so that they can be successful. The next challenge is relationship. Okay? So you might feel, I don't know the teacher well enough to co-teach with them, and that's an honest challenge. Okay? But here's your solution. Be patient. It does take time to develop co-teaching, like any relationship, but with mutual goodwill and common experiences, it really is worth the risk. And be intentional. Get to know each other, eat together, hang out, sit down and have a conversation about your strengths, your weaknesses, what works and what doesn't work for you. Okay? It's very important, bringing up that word again, be intentional, be active about building that relationship so that students can see you guys working together cooperatively. They can sense when there's tension. Okay? The next challenge is students. An IE student might feel stigmatized to have a special helper, or other students might not like being stuck in the IE class. So the solution will be to be creative. Explore other co-teaching models and structures other than the TA, Teacher's Aid model. Okay? Ideally, students shouldn't be able to tell who is the classroom teacher and who is the IE teacher. The teachers are working together so fluidly and working with students maybe that are not even IE students, so that it's truly a cooperative environment and no one feels stigmatized. Okay, and the last challenge here is the content, and this is also a very understandable challenge. You might feel, I don't know science very well, so I can't co-teach in science. Here's the strategy. Be brave. We can learn along with our students. If we're expecting them to know it, we should know it too. And be realistic. Each of us is a specialist in our own field. We can learn from each other. So, here's the big picture. The bricks, the foundation, the things that you need to do first, basically. Plan together in advance. This is important. This is something that we need to be doing on a regular basis. Otherwise, it's not going to work. Establish specific roles and responsibilities for each teacher. Make a list, talk about it, decide who is going to do what and when. use your time strategically. That can go for planning, but that especially goes for class time. Decide, again, who's going to do what and when. Establish norms. This is what's going to happen each week. This is going to happen each unit. This is what you're going to do. This is what I'm going to do. Decide on a schedule and put activities in place. Okay. And then, so we learned about the big picture, and here is the details. The mortar, the bricks and the mortar. Okay. This is what keeps, it's okay to, it's important to lay the foundation and set your schedule, set your expectations, but it's also important to just be a little more fluid and spontaneous at times. This is where you say, while you're doing this, I'm going to do this. Or is it okay if while you're talking and I notice people don't know a word, is it okay if I write it on the board? Or is it okay if I stop and interrupt you and ask a question or explain something? Or is it okay if I show what I'm doing on the document camera? Okay? This collaboration menu, as it's called, made by John Nordmeyer, is a great way for you to sit down and decide, okay, when we're planning, this is what needs to get done. When we're co-teaching, this is how I want it to work. I want to do small group work, or I want you to be a consultant where we sit in, you sit in an area and the students will come to you. And this is how we are going to assess. And hopefully you'll be assessing in many different ways according to their language abilities and differentiated instruction. Okay, so this is going to be available for you in the resources for this class. Okay, so to sum up our co-teaching bit, here are our first steps. When you and your co-teacher meet together, you'll discuss the IE students and their language proficiency levels, which you'll use the benchmarks for. You will explore new co-teaching strategies. Refer to the big moves and the little moves, or the big picture and the details. Use in-class time strategically. Use planning time strategically. Discuss the TSWs as a plan of attack and a plan of attack. Share ongoing feedback. I cannot stress that this is very important. I can't stress enough that it's super important. And develop norms, expectations, and teaching agreements. Okay? So our next thing is to talk about our oh, excuse me, I forgot. Here's a little quote, an inspirational quote for you. Be brave. I feel that we who teach ELLs, English language learners, have to sometimes go out on a limb to try and approach that which we haven't used before. We should have a good reason to try something new, and we need to be as brave as our students. Okay, so that closes now finally closes up our co-teaching, and I think we'll move on to the pull-out model. Okay, so this pull-out model is for ages 6 through 13, and the students after the first week or so are placed by ability level. Okay, this pull-out class is a replacement for the mainstream reading and language arts classes. Okay, and these classes focus on building language skills and teaching them learning strategies, in order to get them ready to go into the mainstream classes. And there is a curriculum to go with these classes. Okay, some assessments that we use to place the students are the following. We use the DRA test when we accept a new student. They are DRA tested. The DRA test is a developmental reading assessment. This is something that is used in many American schools. If you're not familiar with the test, I would strongly advise becoming familiar with the test. But as I was saying, we give it at the very beginning when they come into our school, and then each fall and spring we give it again to monitor their progress. The next test, and this is a new test for our school, but again it's used in the States, is the OLPT, or you'll hear to it referred to as IPT. It's the Oral Language Proficiency Test, and this is given only to intensive English students, but it is given to students at their intake, and we'll give it again to them right before transition to see if they truly are ready to go into the mainstream classes. The next test is given, just like the DRA, is given to every student. It's the MAP test. This is given to students starting at age 9. I believe 9. And it's a measure of academic progress, again, taken from the states. This is given to them in the fall and in the spring, and I believe it's also given to them at intake. And the last test is the ERB writing test, and that's given once a year. It is taken here in the spring, and it's sent off to the states to be graded. And we use all of those to monitor their progress linguistically and academically. Last but not least, we'll discuss the benchmarks. This is a grid that we've come up with to show where students are, to assess where students are along the language continuum. And as you can see, we have, I have 2 of the domains showing here. We have listening and we have speaking. And it shows in each ability level what students should be able to do. This information will be, next year it will be available to mainstream teachers so that they're aware of what the students are able to do, and they will know how to push them and support them along this continuum to help them grow linguistically. Okay? So that is a lot of information. I really appreciate that you listened, and I'm very much looking forward to meeting you. And I hope that you have a great summer, you enjoy yourself, eat lots of your favorite foods, visit your family and friends, you know, stock up on that stuff that you feel like you can't live without, you know, buy some new clothes and, you know, bring some of your favorite things, you'll miss them. I hope that you have a safe trip to China, and I look forward to seeing you in August. Please remember, Stephen and I are here to support you and to help you. So I have listed here our emails and our China cell phone numbers. Feel free to call us when you get here, or to send us an email if you have a question or need some more resources. I enjoyed sharing all my information with you today. Hope you got something out of it. See you soon.